Here he is, Fresh Prince of New Jersey.
The generational decay of the American mafia is a central thematic pillar of the Soprano crime family's history, and no single figure encapsulates this structural and psychological decline more potently than Jackie Jr.
Hey.
Born into the highest echelons of North Jersey organized crime, the young man is a character defined entirely by the immense space between his unearned entitlement and his profound lack of competence.
You mentioned my name, and I sat down with Chris.
As the son of the former acting boss, Jackie Sr., he is paralyzed by the weight of a legacy he neither understands nor possesses the requisite grit to emulate.
Sorry.
His early appearances and character development offer a masterclass in the psychology of narcissistic extension.
You know what my father was?
Showcasing a suburban youth who desperately covets the aesthetic, power, and respect of the underworld, without possessing any of the survivalist instincts or strategic cunning that necessitated its creation.
There's exceptions.
To truly understand his mental state during his introduction and early integration into the peripheral criminal elements of New Jersey, one must first understand the sociological concept of unearned birthright within a closed, illicit ecosystem. Unlike the first-generation Italian-American immigrants, or even the street-hardened men of his father's era who turned to illicit enterprise out of socio-economic desperation and systemic marginalization,
they discriminate against all Italians as a group when they disallow Columbus.
Oh, will you fucking stop?
the younger Jackie is a pure product of the affluent suburbs. He is a child of the upper middle class, provided with a pristine home, a paid college tuition, and every conceivable opportunity to succeed in the legitimate world.
How's school? Everything good, right?
Yet, he categorically rejects the legitimate path.
Oh, these spics came in, disrespecting the place. So I had to straighten them out.
This rejection is not born out of necessity, nor is it driven by a lack of alternatives. Rather, it is driven by an intoxicating, delusional vanity that convinces him he is destined to rule a kingdom he has never actually bled for.
You know what's gonna get squashed? My old man was Jackie Aprile.
By examining the early stages of his narrative, from his first dismissal by the old guard to his initial clumsy attempts at unsanctioned racketeering, a vivid, tragic portrait emerges of a boy playing an elaborate, lethal game of dress-up in his deceased father's blood-stained clothes. The foundation of Jackie Jr.'s entire psychological framework is built upon a ghost. Following the death of his biological father, the young man is cast adrift in a world that operates on meritocratic brutality, yet he expects to be treated as royalty. The men of the Soprano crime family revere the memory of Jackie Sr., whom Christopher Moltisanti once famously described as being,
Your brother Jackie was like a fucking god.
when these hardened criminals look at the son, they see the physical manifestation of their beloved former leader. Initially, this affords the boy a tremendous amount of unearned tolerance and grace, and high-ranking captains give him the benefit of the doubt solely because of his bloodline.
Do me a favor. You watch out for Jackie, okay?
However, the psychological rot sets in because the young man misinterprets this residual affection for his father as genuine, earned respect for himself.
He's the heir apparent.
He lives in a cognitive echo chamber of his own design, suffering from what psychoanalysts might term proxy narcissism. He derives his entire sense of self-worth and grandiose importance not from his own actions, but from his proximity to a legendary figure. He believes that because his father was the acting boss of the Soprano crime family, the universe naturally owes him a fast track to the top of the hierarchy. This dynamic creates a fascinating, albeit doomed, cognitive dissonance. He name-drops his dead father constantly, expecting automatic deference from veteran mobsters.
Out of respect to my father. My old man was Jackie Aprile. You know what my father was? Come on, what about my father?
He fundamentally misunderstands that in the hyper-capitalist, violently pragmatic world of the Soprano crime family, respect is a currency that must be actively earned in blood and revenue, not passively inherited through genetics.
Take away Tony Soprano, he's a zero with shoes.
He wants the crown, the fear, and the money, but he is fundamentally unwilling to perform the grueling, dangerous, and often humiliating associate-level legwork required to earn a place in the organization. Throughout his early arc, he relies on a constant, almost pathological repetition of variations of the phrase,
Out of respect to my father.
This specific phrase serves as both his sword and his absolute psychological shield. Because he is completely void of internal substance, lacking intelligence, strategic foresight, or genuine physical intimidation, he must constantly wear his father's legacy as external armor. He uses the phrase in highly transactional ways to demand deference from lower-level associates,
What did I tell you about my man Jackie?
You know what my father was?
The golfer?
to excuse his own blatant incompetence, and to guilt the senior members of the Soprano crime family into granting him unprecedented leniency. To fully understand the depth of his delusion, One must analyze the multifaceted ways he deploys this phrase as a substitute for actual competence. The organization is fundamentally meritocratic regarding earning potential. His father's name does not generate revenue. The tragedy of his mental state is that he genuinely believes the phrase is a magical incantation. He cannot comprehend why the phrase yields diminishing returns over time. As his entitlement grows more toxic and his actions become more erratic, the tolerance of the Soprano crime family begins to fracture, leaving him exposed to a world that does not care about his pedigree. His introduction to the audience perfectly establishes the vast chasm between how he views his own standing and how the actual power players of the Soprano crime family view him. His first major appearance occurs in the Season 2 episode, The Knight in White Satin Armor. He accompanies his uncle, Richie, to a high-stakes clandestine sit-down with the venerable and highly calculating Uncle Jr. The visual staging, blocking, and dialogue of this scene are critical to understanding his immediate psychological baseline.
He don't give a shit about nobody but himself.
Richie is attempting to court Junior's favor to make a treacherous move against Tony Soprano.
Go talk to Ali boy. Feel him out. Don't commit.
It is a meeting of immense gravity, discussing treason, murder, and the shifting of millions of dollars in illicit garbage contracts.
So? Larry's out.
In a moment of sheer, unearned audacity, the young man attempts to chime into this summit of mafia elders to strengthen his uncle's argument. He speaks casually, adopting the cadence and posture of an initiated, highly respected member of the family.
He was a great friend to my father, but he doesn't care who he follows now. I do them myself.
Junior's response is a masterclass in psychological emasculation and strict hierarchical enforcement. Without raising his voice, without shifting his posture, and without even deigning to look directly at the boy, Junior famously cuts him down with devastating precision.
Who's that speaking here? Somebody speaking?
This line is far more than mere humorous dismissal. It is a profound sociological statement regarding the rigid, unforgiving hierarchy of the Soprano crime family. In the deeply entrenched traditions of La Cosa Nostra, unmade men, associates, and certainly nephews do not speak during leadership sit-downs unless explicitly spoken to.
You know, it wasn't long ago I remember you used to wait in the car. And as far as I'm concerned, you should still be there.
His failure to understand this most basic tenet of respect highlights his complete, staggering ignorance of the world he is so desperate to rule. He believes his bloodline grants him a natural seat at the table, but Junior immediately, surgically relegates him to the status of an invisible, irrelevant child. Despite this humiliating public rebuke in front of his uncle, his mental state remains completely unaltered. A rational actor would register this intense embarrassment, recognize their total lack of standing, and either retreat to the civilian world or begin to quietly put in the grueling, silent work required to earn respect. He, however, possesses a psychological shield that completely deflects all incoming reality. The visual metaphor of the hollow crown perfectly encapsulates his predicament following his dismissal by Junior. He continues to operate under the assumption that the throne is his birthright, completely blind to the fact that the men currently holding power view him as nothing more than a nuisance. This profound disconnect between his internal reality and the external world is the psychological engine that drives his early arc. Thank you for watching this video. I'm going to post 2 more parts of the series of videos where I analyze Jackie Jr.'s psychological state. Next one is tomorrow. Subscribe and stay tuned.